Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, this story you may have heard in other places as well, perhaps on this channel too, but there is a new update attached to it. So if you do want to skip parts of the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are down in the description and along the timeline below. This one's from the poster NotWillingToShare from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. And it says, Am I the arsehole for kicking out my mum's boyfriend? When I was 17, my mum came into money. She tried to keep it quiet, but she paid off my dad's debts, bought him a small house, paid off her debts and paid for my sister's college, and set up funds for mine. She had a boyfriend at the time, and shortly after, him and his son, who was 7, moved into our new house. Over the next few years, my mum bought my sister a house after she graduated college. Her boyfriend lived with us and didn't pay anything, but he did work. When I was 21, my mum got diagnosed with cancer. It wasn't good. She sat me and my sister down and went over exactly how much money there was. She intended to give her current house to me, and both me and my sister were left with a large sum at the end of it. She asked if I would allow her boyfriend to stay in the house with his son until he got his own place. I agreed. Before she died, she told her boyfriend he would need to look for his own place. I had time to save, more for that journey. For the last 4 years, he has continued to reside in the house with his son. I haven't minded because we get along okay. I pay all the bills, but he does buy food for him and his kid. He's dated on and off and mostly kept the women out of this house, which I respected him for. Until his current partner. She's been in my house 3 times, and at first, besides feeling a little uncomfortable, I was okay with her. The last time this past weekend was the point where I lost my shit. I was making myself some lunch when she came walking downstairs, grabbed a plate and went to go grab food out of my pan. I asked her what she thought she was doing. She started telling me how I should look for somewhere else to live, and leeching off my dead mum's past relationship as an adult was pathetic. I hollered for my mum's old boyfriend. He came down and I told him, I don't know what his current thing thought, but I wasn't going to be disrespected in my house. He wouldn't even look me in the eyes as he mumbled something about my mum promising him the house, and he was just being kind, letting me stay. First, that isn't remotely true. Mum pulled him and I together after she asked if he could stay to set expectations. My mum met him shortly before she won the money and told him and us girls that she had no intention of leaving him money. She did set aside for his son for college. When he gets there, but he cannot touch it. Only his son can. He's lived in this house almost 8 years without paying a dime. He should have plenty of money, and if he doesn't, that's on him. I told him he had 30 days to leave. I wasn't going to house someone who would lie and disrespect me in my house. He left that night with his son, but his ex-wife called me to tell me I'm cruel and an arsehole for his son losing his house. He is here every other week. I really feel like my mum didn't expect him to still be here, but my sister said she feels like I'm breaking my promise to my mum, and that made me feel like maybe I am the arsehole. Opie says, if it happened exactly how you said it, you're not the arsehole. If she did say he had time to save, but would need to look for his own place, that means she never imagined or wanted him staying for long, so you're breaking no promises. Did she leave him any money or assets? It is totally possible that your mother would be livid if she knew her boyfriend was still living with her son after 4 years. Opie replies to that saying no, she created a fund for his son for college, but that was the only money set aside for him or his son. It's a generous amount, enough for 4 years at a high-dollar school. Anything not used for school would be given to him on his 25th birthday from what I believe she told me. A lawyer and accountant are in charge of those funds, not me or my sister, so I only know what she told us before she died. She was never married to or engaged to her boyfriend. He lived with his sister and was saving for his own house when Mum met him. Him moving in with us was supposed to be temporary and allow him to save to buy his dream home, but he never left. My mum was like that though. She had a big heart and sometimes people took advantage of that, especially after the money. She bought him a brand new truck when his car broke down, but beyond that and smaller gifts, like TV, computer, etc. for birthdays and holiday gifts, she did not leave him money. They had no joint accounts, my mum paid for everything, and he was supposed to be saving for a house the whole time that they were together. A commenter says, guessing to the mistangs over the years, he's lived rent/utility free in Opie's house. I'm also giving the stink eye to the sister, laying the guilt trip on OP for evicting him. OP says, I don't think my sister meant any harm. Probably feels a little sad like me that his son won't be around. I don't expect we'll get to visit with the kid. He's 15, and we both like him and have known him a while. The three of us gamed together some over the years and usually did an outing once every month or two to arcades or amusement parks or something like that together. Commenter says, I'm curious just how long your sister thinks he and son should be allowed to freeload off you. She doesn't have the warm fuzzies for him, does she? Opie says no, but she's kind of a pushover like our mum was. Super kind-hearted but to a fault. Heck, maybe I am to an extent. I just don't put up with disrespect. Commenter says, was his girlfriend shocked and believed him, or was she trying to start the takeover, or at least try to? It's possible he lied to her, but it's also possible she knew but was wanting to come in and take over. It happens all the time. I would hire movers if they left anything. Do not let them come back in. It could be hell getting them out. Lucky they left. Opie says she seems smug the whole time, so I suspect she put him up to it, because he and I always got along before this. He didn't argue when I kicked him out. He did text me and asked to come by this weekend to get his stuff, and asked if I'd be willing to talk. I told him my dad and boyfriend will be here, and he agreed to that, and how the girlfriend reacted when she found out. She sat with her arms crossed when he and I talked, but she didn't say anything else, and she left with him. OP responding to another comment saying, thank you so much. My mum was the sweetest person, and when I was a teenager, I feel like I was a nightmare to her. I'm thankful I was much better in my late teens, and 20 and 21. So she got to see me mature a little before she passed. I wasn't always the best daughter, but she was always the best mum. I think part of letting him stay so long is having bonded with his son, but also I liked having someone else around who loved my mum too. There were nights I would wake up from a nightmare and end up in the kitchen, and he would hear me and just come make me a cup of coffee and sit and share a story about her. His son loved mum too, and some evenings we would get takeout and watch movies and joke about what commentary my mum would have if she had seen the movie with us. My sister lives a state away, so we only really see each other once a month or so. I like not being alone in this big house. I do have a security system and the locks have changed. He's coming over tomorrow to get his stuff. Someone accused OP of saying basically this was a creative writing exercise, and OP said, neither me nor my sister were teenagers when my mum passed away. I was the youngest at 21, and the funds have been in a trust, but it wasn't related to this story, and the character limit made me already limit things I said. I won't have full access to the funds left to me until I'm about 30, but I can request additional access through the trustees, and I get monthly funds for bills and spending. My mum paid for people to manage both me, my sister's, and her boyfriend's son's trusts. Yes, his college fund is in a trust, and well, this is why his dad has no access to it. Personally, I love Reddit. This is a throwaway because I don't want to dox myself and my actual account has photos of myself and my pets. But no one in my real life knows about the money, except family and my mum's boyfriend, who doesn't even know how much money, just that there was money. Not even my boyfriend knows. Edit to add. Journey was my mum's word to her boyfriend when we all sat down, which is why I used that word. She was super into historical fiction romance novels, and she used some old phrasing in real life sometimes because of it. My sister and I used to tease her for it all the time. So OP went to post an update and said, I know the other sub is very subjective on updates, so I figured I would post it here. I do want to take a moment to address some things I saw in the comments. 1. There are trusts set up, and neither me nor my sister has full access to the money left us. This was done both because my sister and I were in our early 20s when my mum died, and she wanted to make sure we had some stability before we had access and to protect us from people who may try to take advantage, especially while we were grieving. 2. I have a lawyer. He has already informed me legally to my area what eviction laws are, and my mum's former boyfriend will be served with formal eviction papers just to cover myself even after today. So, to the update. My dad came over. Decided not to have my boyfriend over since he doesn't know about the money side, and I wasn't trying to have the boyfriend out the situation this morning and brought along my cousin. For easier telling, I'm going to call my mum's former boyfriend Chuck. Chuck showed up about 10 AM my time and talked to my dad and then asked if he could have a couple of minutes alone with me. Dad nodded, so my cousin and him went into the kitchen and Chuck and I sat in the living room. I'll be honest, I didn't expect it to go as it had, but I'm glad it did. Chuck started with an apology. I don't remember all of the words, but said the basics were he missed my mum. He's been lonely, but not alone thanks to me and his son. He was sorry for what happened and that he got caught up in lust, let someone else fill his head with ideas, that he owned up to the mistakes and should have never put up with someone who would disrespect me or my mum's memory. He tried to hand me a cashier's check for $15,000. He said it wasn't much, but he wanted me to know he appreciated me, living with me, and that he wanted to pay back some of what he owed. I refused the check both in part because I never wanted his money, but I also don't want to give any possible legal leg for him to stand on if this is somehow him trying to stay. I told him the first part and told him to put it towards a house. He told me he is living with his sister, but he's going to look at houses with a realtor next week. He did say his son is asking about when our next hangout date and said both me and my sister are welcome to arrange time with him. After all of that, my dad and cousin helped him get all the stuff out of the house that he owned. He had brought a U-Haul, and he gave me back my house keys. He apologized again and left. Not what I expected, but it went really well, and I feel a lot less like I let my mum down. A couple of the comments on this update said, I'm just being nosy, sure, but how did the woman who thought she's getting you kicked out of your house respond to it all? Opie says no clue. At my house, she just seemed smug and bitchy. I didn't ask Chuck about her and honestly don't care. My house is nice, but it's not like it's multi-million dollars or anything. Opie responded to a deleted comment and said, all of the "he's coming for your house" comments on my post kinda made me paranoid. Much happier with how he handled things, even if the check made me a little paranoid too. Another commenter says, where did all the money your mum got come from? Was it inheritance? And how much did she get? Seems like a lot to buy so much. Opie says I won't disclose any of that and is 100% irrelevant to the judgment of the topic at hand. So, Opie came in with another update about 10 days after that one and said, previous post on my profile, I'm too lazy to link. This is probably going to be my last update. It's not, unless something unexpected happens, but I thought I would just give a quick update on Chuck. So Chuck called me last weekend and again yesterday. He put an offer on a house and yesterday got accepted. Expected a close date in early next month, but I'm very proud of him. I know everyone expected more drama and honestly some of the comments had me worried, but it's been really good. He thanked me a lot for letting him have so much time here. Offered me some money, one more time for his time here, which again I declined, but I did offer to help him move in when the time comes. Moving sucks. He put down almost half for a down payment, so he definitely was saving money during his time here. I'm glad that everything happened was an encouragement for him to get into a home of his own. I talked to his son yesterday after he got out of school. We're going to play laser tag this weekend with my sister and he is excited for the new house too. And then it was about 1 month after that, Opie came in with what was titled their final update, which says, I didn't expect to come back, but I had a surprise this past weekend and thought I would share some positives. So first off, Chuck got his house. He closed and moved in the past week. Invited me over on Saturday to see the house and told me he had something for me. So, some background on my mum. Mum was an amazing, kind woman. She was also heavy set and very self-conscious. Most of the photos I have of her are Snapchat pictures she would send. She hated pictures of herself and she absolutely refused to pose for a camera. I've made many comments since she passed and I worry I won't remember what she looked like since so many photos I have are either old or filtered. So back to present day. Chuck invited me and my sister over and showed us his new place. He thanked us for being amazing people and then he handed us each a photo album. Guys, he had hundreds of photos of my mum printed off for each of us. He told us he hated that she filtered her photos and that he has secretly been taking photos of her the whole relationship because he loved the real her. He had snagged photos of us with her at the zoo, photos of her on vacations, photos of her napping, photos of her during hikes. Both me and my sister were bawling looking through these pictures of my mum we never knew we needed. He had put some little card notes for each date of the photos and some descriptions on some. He managed to capture her smiling and laughing. Things she would never take a picture of because she didn't like her smile. To me, this book is priceless. So that's it. Chuck is amazing, and maybe we've had one bad moment, but it doesn't define him or I. We love my mum, and that matters. We're all going to get together for my mum's birthday in a few months and just celebrate the woman she was. And a comment which was downvoted, but Opie replied to it to give some extra context. The comment said, my mum didn't like to have pictures of her taken. My dad struggled a little to find a picture of her for a memorial service. At the after-service lunch, I was sitting next to my sister and an aunt started to take pictures of us. We both automatically dropped our heads and put our hands up, with no regrets. People have a right to not have their pictures taken against their will. I feel bad for the mother. To which OP replied to that saying, my mum didn't like the way she looked. She actually enjoyed photography behind the camera. She saw herself very differently than we did, and she did take photos, she just used filters because she had issues with self-image. I'm very thankful for the photos. They are the real, authentic her. Top comment said to that saying, that's so wonderful and touching. And I love that your mother was so beloved during her life and now. And so glad that you updated a great resolution to a moment of poor judgment. And I gotta be honest, coming out of this, I was quite surprised with the way things ended. And I'm glad that Chuck was able to turn it around because he definitely messed up initially. But taking that responsibility instead of fighting back, and they maintained their connection to honor someone that they both loved. I think that's an absolutely amazing way to end it for me. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now this story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from AfterAd3961. And it says, am I the arsehole for not following my husband's family tradition? My 28 female husband, 29 male, comes from a very traditional family. While we disagree with his family on many things, there's never really been an issue until now. I'm currently 8 months pregnant and my husband and I couldn't be happier as we've been trying for a while. Since I first found out I was pregnant, we've been discussing names for our child. In my husband's family, the tradition wants the child to be named after his granddaughter. Basically, firstborn men in his family only have 2 names, James or Henry. My husband's grandfather was James, so his name is James too. My husband's father is called Henry, so our child should be too. And so on and so forth. But my husband and I didn't really like calling our child Henry. And although it's a beautiful way to honor family members, we really wanted our child to have a name that would be personal, that would truly be his. So we chose another name and decided to wait until after the birth to reveal it to everyone. This week my mother-in-law came to visit us and help us set up for the baby. She brought us some presents, amongst which was a bunch of clothes in which she hand embroidered the name Henry. I said that was nice and thanked her for it, but we told her that we wouldn't be naming our child Henry, as we already told her in the past. She started insisting and saying that it was a tradition, so it had to be that way. I explained to her that we'd rather give our child a name that we chose, and that Henry could be his middle name. She immediately went to my husband and started saying things like, "You're not going to let her do that to our family," and making it very dramatic, saying that I was breaking a tradition that went back hundreds of years. Honestly, not sure about that. My husband tried to explain that we both agreed on the name, and all the reasons why we made that choice, but she wouldn't listen. She suggested that we name him Henry on paper as his legal name, and then called him something else. But I thought that would be confusing for him, and told her that he would be named what we chose. She kept begging my husband and saying that I was ruining the family tradition, and at one point I lost it, which is partially to blame on hormones I think, and told her that it was our child, so we did what we wanted, and we didn't have to follow a stupid tradition. She stormed out, and my husband has since received texts from his father and sister accusing me of making his mother feel really bad, and some other stuff that I don't really remember. I get the importance of tradition, and it can be really beautiful, but I also think that shouldn't be an obligation, and it's okay to change things. We won't change our baby's name because we're really set on it, but maybe we were wrong for not following the tradition. I'm not entirely sure, and I'm mentally exhausted by all this drama. Edit. I've seen many comments mentioning they saw similar stories in the past. I'd like to clarify, those weren't mine. All of those events happened 2 days ago, but it's crazy to see how many families have similar traditions. I really thought this was a super rare thing. I can remember a story some time back where they lived in a small town and every child was named this one particular name, and it got like really confusing just going around town to banks and stuff, and just confusing in situations where you're having to hand over your ID and you're like, oh no, that's Derek the 12th. But it always just feels like there's no true reasoning behind it. It's just tradition and therefore it has to happen. like it's just on autopilot. But in the end, your mother-in-law's reaction is just boundary pushing, from approaching you with the embroidered clothes to trying to get your husband into a us versus her situation. And I think you were super generous to say about Henry being like a middle name in this. But in the end, simply not the arsehole. No J. Caesar says, I will never understand this. What if your family had the same tradition? Who wins? Not the arsehole in the slightest. Congratulations on your pregnancy, and give your sweet boy whatever name you and your husband choose. Edit to add, if you were having a girl, would you be in the clear to name her whatever? OP responded saying, honestly, no idea. And it's so confusing and unpractical too. Thank you so much. Serious Eye says, I work in finance and deal a lot with older clients and their beneficiaries. People with money love naming their kids after themselves. We have a family here that has a huge trust. All the grandkids are in it. All of the male grandkids have the same fucking name. Literally 5 of them have the same name because of tradition, similar to this. The paperwork is an absolute nightmare, and all of them have had multiple issues because there's 3 male generations of this family that all have the same name. Not the arsehole. Ms. Vindy says, not the arsehole. You and your husband have picked a name you like for your child. Key words here. And that should be that. It's not wrong to break tradition, especially ones like this, so please don't feel guilty or bad, OP. Mother-in-law needs to let it go, but it's probably going to be a while before she does, if she ever does. So you should probably make sure that your husband is also willing to die on this hill with you and have your back. Also, be prepared for mother-in-law to call your son Henry anyways, especially if you ever have a babysit. These kind of dilemmas usually don't just end with the flying monkeys. And one more comment from What Did That Girl Say, who says, not the arsehole. I underwrite mortgage loans and can't tell you how you saved your son from the intermingling of credit, potentially bad credit, from family members with the same name. This is a ridiculous tradition, and your mother-in-law has shown you who she really is. Believe and block her and anyone else who feels they have the right to override your decisions as parents. Kudos to your husband for standing up to them. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Have you been named after a family member yourself? Let us know how that goes, and let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit again from 08extra25. And it says, am I the arsehole for refusing and ungrateful to take a 1,000 plus gift from my partner because I like cooking? About 2 weeks ago, my partner told me he was hosting a Salad Master party at our home. Salad Master is a cookware brand that claims to cook food without added water for healthier eating. He asked if I wanted the cookware, but after a quick Google search, I found it gimmicky and said no, explaining why. I thought that was the end of it. Let me just have a quick Google here. Ooh, that Trustpilot review is interesting. A week later, while the party was happening, I went out to meet friends. Before I left, I met the salesperson, who tried to pitch the pans by saying I'd taste the difference. I smiled politely and left. While cooking at my friend's place, because I love cooking, I got a text from my partner asking if I wanted to buy a pan or pot. Annoyed, I compromised and agreed to a saucepan since I didn't have one. Then 20 minutes later, he texted me saying he had bought the entire set for over $1,000. I was frustrated because I had said no, then adjusted to let him get a single pan, and he still bought everything. When I got home, he told me how good the food was, which was fine, but then he brought up the baking soda test. The salesperson boiled water in my stainless steel pan, added baking soda, then did the same with the Salad Master pan. They made the guests taste both, claiming my pan made the water taste metallic, while Salad Master's did not. My partner then tried to convince me my pan was bad. I found it odd and told him it was hard to believe that my Le Creuset stainless steel pan would do that. He got upset saying, I was there, I tasted it, do you think I'm lying? That angered me because I wasn't calling him a liar, I was questioning the test. Later, I researched and found that scratched stainless steel can react with alkaline substances like baking soda, making the water taste metallic. The more I read, the more suspicious the whole thing seemed. The next day, he gave me a Salad Master booklet as a gift and suggested I replace my pans. That made me angry. I told him no and tried to explain why, but he dismissed me, pretending to listen while doing other things, saying I'm ungrateful and he has a history of buying me things after I explicitly say no, and getting upset and calling me ungrateful when I don't accept them. To avoid a fight, I've been sleeping in a separate room, but now I'm livid because I just found out he's hosting another Salad Master party. I'm at my wit's end, so tell me, am I the arsehole for refusing a gift that my partner bought me? Salesman? Salad Master party? Getting those MLM vibes, I gotta tell ya. But I am said Salad Master is a multi-level marketing scheme. That's why he's upset that you won't buy. He's setting himself up to be a seller and he needs a downline. Leave before he loses all of his money. Only a small percentage of the sellers ever make money off of MLM schemes. It is a typical money pit. He will invest thousands of dollars in goods just to sell to other people. But if no one bites, he loses all of the money. There are no sellbacks. Share this in Just No MLM. You'll probably get some good advice and more information about this particular scam. Glum says, I'd make sure he doesn't toss your La Crusette as well. Apologies about the pronunciation, especially since he thinks it's crap and clearly doesn't know good cookware. I once had a boyfriend who put my favorite cast iron in the dishwasher, then claimed it was cheap because it is rusted. Also, is this the kind of nonsense you want to live with forever? Guy just blew $1,000 on crap you specifically said you didn't want. That's a lot of money. I'd be pissed off if my partner disregarded my wishes, as the partner who does most of the cooking, and bought that junk. And one more comment from Fairy Competent who says not the arsehole. He didn't buy you a gift. He got snookered and is trying to spin it as a positive thing. Your boyfriend is dumb as a bag of hair. I hope you know that. He is the MLM's dream. A sucker with disposable income and an ego too fragile to admit a mistake. I would not be able to be attracted to a person like this. But good luck to you if you still are. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? I can't see it going any other way really, but let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. That's an MLM I haven't heard of before, by the way. But what do you guys make of today's collection of stories? Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon.